Hello, everyone. Good morning. I am here today a bit earlier because I have another commitment at our scheduled time. So I'm excited to see you all, and I see it's working. Yoo-hoo! Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I have to get the volume out. Yes. Sorry, I apologize for my excitement, but after a few issues or running into some issues for a few weeks, it's a bit of a relief when I get things working as expected and on time. So for those of you who might come live, we'll have definitely some time to answer questions. I feel like today is one that is not, I would say, the most the most complex topic from the perspective of discussing paradigms and theories and things that sometimes have very diverse or a wide range of experiences and opinions. So it's not a theme that goes into those areas. It is one that is more practical, and it's about writing your manuscript in fewer words. I get this question every once in a while, and the last time that I got it was during the delivery of Qualitative Research Blueprint. And one of the members shared that the manuscript she was writing had 7,000 words, and she basically needed to cut it by half, and asked what strategies I had, like what should she do or even attempt to solve the issue. So I gave her 3 strategies, and the first one I would say is probably the most important of the 3. It's also the most important because it either enhances your writing or it can weaken your writing when it comes to your qualitative research findings. So let's talk about the 3 and we'll go from there. So first is choose participants' quotes strategically. As qualitative researchers, we do gain a lot from our participants' perspectives, opinions, experiences, and what they tell us. And I find that Maria says we fall in love with our data. I feel like we also fall in love with quotes. There are certain quotes that we think are just those quotes that bring our research to life to an extent, and we really fall in love with them. We tend to really fall in love with our participants' voices and some of the things that they told us. And I do believe that quotes are phenomenal within the text. And when I am writing qualitative findings, I do try to write and leave the quotes in text. What do I mean by that? Some people will put a number of quotes in a table in order to save words in the text. I think having a table to add additional quotes about each category or theme is fine, but I am not one that completely eliminates them from the text. I think there is a lot of flow and strength and beauty in having those quotes as part of the text. With that being said, you need to choose your quotes strategically. You really can't have one theme being illustrated by several quotes because you cannot choose which one you like the best. It's not even a matter of choosing which one you like the best. It's really looking at your quotes and thinking, which ones are adding or saying more than what I have already written or introduced about this result? So you do need to choose them strategically. And that is important because most journals in interdisciplinary fields that relate to health have a word limit even for qualitative manuscripts. They might have a higher word limit than some, but they still have a word limit. So you do need to be really aware of that as you are writing your findings. So that's strategy number one. Choose your quotes strategically and really think about the ones that are adding ideas that are super interesting or that are in a tone and a format that you wouldn't be able to write with your voice, or one that is giving an example that illustrates what you already said way better than you trying to write it out and retell that story. And remember, the option to use tables to add details is an option you can use. And I talked about it already, so that's a strategy number one. So you can use tables for many things, and those tables usually wouldn't count as your total word count. So it's a bit of I would say it's an interesting and an effective and also a bit of a sneaky way to add more details without adding more words to your manuscript. And you can think about tables to explain your results, so you can add more quotes in a table format relating to the main themes and categories you're presenting. You can also use tables to add details about your inclusion and exclusion criteria. You can build flow diagrams to give more details about your data analysis and the process that you used to analyze your data. That is another way that you would be adding more details to your methods without necessarily increasing the number of words significantly. So that is another strategy you can consider and you can use. I have done that quite often in the past year with my clients and with the journals that we have submitted our work to. But I also want to open a parenthesis here and say, sometimes you also need to think feet. If you are working and trying to submit to a journal that has an extremely extravagant word count and it's really low, it might be important and necessary for you to assess whether that journal is a good fit for your work and whether that journal is open to qualitative research. So don't forget to assess the fit of the journal as you're doing this, because sometimes a really low word count or a maximum of 3,000 words, for example, might mean that your work could do better if submitted to another journal. So it is important. While I am presenting you all these strategies, I do want you to think and consider the fit of the manuscript where you will be submitting your work to. Last but not least, engage your co-authors and professional editors in the process of writing more succinctly. It is something that I have found very, very powerful, and I learned so much by doing that. And you have to remember, my first language is a Latin language. It is Portuguese. In Portuguese, we tend to write longer sentences. I feel like I am one that has always struggled to be succinct and more direct to the point with shorter sentences in my writing. And engaging professional editors and the co-authors that I have had over the years in the process of review has really allowed me to learn while accomplishing this goal of writing in fewer words while still maintaining the strength of the writing, the meat of those qualitative research findings. And for professional editors specifically, it's interesting because the person that has always been my professional editor that I learned so much from this person has moved from the writing center at the U of A and is now in another position. But I know that by working with him over many years, because I worked with him for my master's and also for many of my PhD papers, I have learned tremendously. And I have learned about rules and grammar and parallelism and things that many people wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. It was by working with an editor and understanding why he was correcting my work, I have learned a lot. So I feel it's really interesting and it's an empowering process, and one that might even be better or more worthwhile for those of you who might be writing in English and English not being your first language. So if it is a situation and you are an English learner or an ESL, English as second language, I think instead of seeing our position as not being good enough, we can see this as an opportunity to learn more and to get better at many areas that go beyond the scope of the one submission of one manuscript. So I hope these 3 strategies, as simple as they are, I think they do help immensely. And you want your writing to be beautiful, to flow, to really deliver the message that you want to deliver and present your results in a way that creates that sense in your reader of, wow, how like this is so well written. And I say that sometimes that's actually the problem with how much people don't appreciate and understand qualitative research and how much it takes to get there, because papers that are well written, they just flow. When they tell a story in a way that is engaging, it's interesting, it's often beautiful to read and to see. And the 3 strategies that I shared here with you, as simple as they are strategies to try to get you to that place where you are presenting your results and your research in a way that will give your reader and your reviewer that feeling of, wow, this flows really nicely and it's really well written. So that's the goal. If you have any other strategies that you have used, anything else that you would like to share with us, please do. I would be happy to potentially add to this blog post. Can add a bit of a comment and we can include any strategies that you have used. And if you try to use any of the ones that I mentioned here today, let us know, because I would also love to hear how they worked or did not work for you. If you ever search for any of my papers, you will see that I have used them, and you will see things in diagrams, you will see tables being used, and it's kind of like see what I'm talking about and preaching in action. Of course, if it's not your area of research, the area that I have published, don't read the whole paper, but you can see how it looks and how it feels and what it would mean potentially to try to do some of those things, implement some of those things that I discussed. And with that, I am going to wrap up today. And if you have any questions, I see some of you are here now and live. Please write your questions or let us know how it goes trying the strategies that we discussed today. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Next week, I can't believe I'm saying this, but next week, it's June 1st. We enter a new month. June will be a month where we'll be talking a lot about relationships. And it is one of the pillars, if you remember, in our Realize path. And we are going to be talking a lot about relationships in relation to qualitative research. So get ready to talk about teamwork, to talk about analyzing data together. And we have something coming up, and you will all have a chance to sign up, where we'll be working together to write our methods. So save the date. If you have more availability, I'm looking at my calendar for the week of June 21st, 2021. We'll be working together to write methods, qualitative methods for whatever purpose you need. So stay tuned because we'll be sending out more details in our newsletter, and we'll be doing a lot of really interesting things to build community, to support one another in this month of June. So take good care, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.